back to McLean Cadet. Today we're back on the 882. Made some changes off in film. Changed the throttle lever on it. The other one was broken in a couple places. Could have been fixed, but I decided to turn it over to a regular throttle. And it's off in a snapper of all things. I'll show you how it's activated. Took some parts off in an injector pump off a 239 International Harvester tractor with that German motor in it. This one right here is off a David Brown 990. This one here is off in a 239 DT off a TD8. So it's all manual now, and I'll show you the shutoff. There's a shutoff. I just used a choke cable, ran it through the hole right there, and made a little change there. Actually, they work a little bit better than the factory one that they put on. But today we're going to remove the fenders. I'm not going to use these set of fenders here. This is going to be unedited. This is a little bit different than a gas model because your fuel tank is right there. Now, I haven't cleaned up much. I want to get the fenders off. Going to get them changed. I did run a line there to repair that one that wound up in the dry shaft. And I forgot to show you on past films, this is the driver that came out of there. And when it came out, she dropped down and she just hit them lines and it just wound it right up. Right there is what's left of the lines right there. So we're going to put you in a stand. We're going to take it off. It'll only take a few minutes. I'll show you the difference. We are going to pull the fuel tank off, run new lines, and this is not a big procedure, but we'll give you a good idea how it's done. So we're going to put you in the stand. First thing we're going to do is remove the bolts on the floorboard. We have 3 right here. They're 5/16 bolts. So we're going to use a 1/2 inch. Now, even though this is a little bit rusty, I save this hardware here. I clean them up and repaint them a lot of times. Being in the salvage business, a lot of times I get a lot of equipment in with the same type of bolts in them. So I use shiny ones. We're going to move you over to the other side. We'll take that one off. Then we're going to shift gears a little bit. Right there is the water separator right there. Not going to use that on this one right here. It has some bolts there. Now, the gentleman I bought it from told me that he ran this out of fuel. Actually, I don't believe he did. I think what the issue was, I don't think the shutoff was working correctly in the injector pump. These fenders actually would probably buff out, no question about it. But I want it to look really decent when I re-decal it. So now we're going to take off the seat pan. I'm going to change sockets. I want to make sure that you see everything. Now we're going to take off the rear bolts right here. Actually, I'm going to use all different bolts. Now, I'm not going to use new bolts. You're going to laugh when I'm going to take the bolts off to replace it. The rear covers on the Cyclops, I take a lot of the transmissions apart for the axles, the 30mm and the 1-inch ones for the guys that pull the lawn and garden tractors. So I use them shiny bolts that come out of the rear cover. Because I want them to all look really natural. We're going to, let me move the camera just a little bit. This is the toughest portion right here. We're going to remove the wiring on the taillights. Now, believe it or not, these taillights work. Now, this one here has been repaired, but we'll see if we can get it, and we did get it apart. So I'll move the camera a little bit closer, and you can see the fenders coming off. We're gonna have to pop that grommet right here. I'm gonna have to get a screwdriver. We'll soak that in a little bit of WD-40 because I want to use that original grommet right there. Now, we'll pull that off. We'll run that through. We're going to pop that back in. This one's different on the standard cover because they run the wiring right up straight through it. You can also replace it and just drill a hole and have a new cover that's a little shinier. Actually, I believe that one's going to buff out real well. And there we go. So the next thing we're going to do, because we're going to do the gas lines, I'm not going to remove the fuel tank out completely. Probably some people are going to say I do it the wrong way, but I take the front bracket off right here. That'll loosen it up. So it takes a 1/2 inch to do that, excuse me. And there's a bolt, and I'll get you right down there so you can see it. Right there is the bolt hidden right in there. We're going to take that whole bracket off right there. I'm going to show you another thing before the film ends. The fuel lines are in extremely bad shape. Like I was saying, I believe this machine was sitting out in the elements for about 9 years. Now, one thing is, and we're going to move the camera to the other side, the difference is on a diesel, they use stands to hold the rear portion of the fenders. Actually, they didn't hold them tight. You can actually take a diesel set of fenders and you can shake them side to side. There's just a stand holding them on the back side. Now, you have a gas one, of course, they had the battery tray. Now we're going to have to peel back the foam a little bit on this one. This is the first time I've had the set of fenders off. Everything looks good. I just want to get this all degreased so when it goes together, I want to get the frame all nice and shiny. If you look back on my past video with that 782, actually it was one of my first projects I ever did for YouTube. I had to change the frame in that machine because the frame was so rusty, especially up in this area right here in the midsection. if you're changing a transmission in one of these, the best way to do it, and your lines are good, I just lift the fuel tank out and I put it off to the side right here on a 5-gallon pail. That's how I do it. And then you don't ever have to unhook the line, so you have to reprime the system. Now be careful because the wiring is on there. And actually, I'm just going to leave that right there. I'm not going to unhook it at all because it's really not necessary. So I'm going to run the new lines. You want to save all the foam so you can glue it in. We're going to see if we can move this a little bit. This line here is going to be disconnected, so it might not come right up through there. And it did. And I'm very surprised at that. And I'm going to put this cap back on, or this dipstick. I'm going to give you a good look at it. I'm going to clean up all this whole area. I'm going to take you out of the stand. And you can see, this makes it easy to replace all the lines. You can see these lines here are in very bad shape. Going to get them all replaced, run them up through by the levers here, by the cams, and get this area all cleaned up. So I appreciate everyone watching my channel. I hope you like the unedited videos better. I appreciate you subscribing to my channel and watching my channel, and we'll see you on the next video.